All right. Um, Pretty sure other people have covered this already, but thought we'd go over it. Looked interesting. Cosmic Book News. Also, I'm testing out zooming in. I mean, I knew that Chrome could do that, but I don't think about it. So anyway, we've zoomed in now. Let's see how this looks on the video. Jon Favreau rumored to take over Star Wars amid Abrams cut rumors. Yeah, actually, I think a lot of people have talked about the Abrams cut, and I think the consensus seems to be that probably there is no Abrams cut. That this is just BS brought about from the success of the Snyder cut. It's again claimed that Jon Favreau could be taking over Star Wars from Kathleen Kennedy. I wish that was true. Somehow I just doubt it. Which comes amid rumors surrounding an Abrams cut of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. However, before we continue, it should be noted these latest rumors are in stark comparison to the previous Star Wars rumors that offered some sort of civil war that has been taking place at Lucasfilm and the rumors surrounding Episode 9, or X as I prefer to call it. A lengthy post on Reddit. Oh, yeah, Reddit. So reliable, Reddit. Titled, What Happened with the Disney Sequel Trilogy and the Changes to Episode 9. Offers potential details about what is actually happening within Lucasfilm, and again, it's nothing like has been rumored by certain boisterous YouTubers. I assume they're talking about Doomcock, and I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. He claims to be in contact with, well, I believe he claims to be in contact with people who work at Disney who talk to other people that work at Disney and supposedly get inside info from them. And I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked into it critically and tried to figure out, what's his, what's his ratio of being correct. I don't know. It's probably better than Mike Zero's, but eh. Anyway, bear in mind the info could be fake or a shill attempt by Disney to make the situation look better than it actually is. Well, certainly. The Reddit post also goes over possible details about the sequel trilogy and an Abrams cut of Episode 9. Does anybody really believe, that even if there was such a thing, that it would actually be better than the theatrical version? I mean, I'm sorry, I have zero faith in J.J. Abrams to produce something better than what we have already seen. No Star Wars Civil War. Well, sure there was. I don't know about in the company, but there was a galactic civil war. Details mentioned include that there never has been a civil war within Lucasfilm, and that Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau are on pleasant terms and get along, which fits with Favreau's recent comments. What recent comments? What is that link to? Star Wars reset. Jon Favreau. I don't know. That's another article. I'm not going to bother going there. Pardon me. I will say this about any such public statements. It's like all public statements basically are going to be to try to make things look better than they are. That's just standard procedure for everybody who works anywhere. It's like you generally don't talk smack about the company you're fucking working for. Not if you want to keep working there. What is going on is that it's claimed certain members of the Lucasfilm story group, such as Pablo Hidalgo, piece of shit, desire to see Star Wars resemble a D&D campaign with more aesthetic and less narrative, while others, such as Favreau and Dave Filoni, are pushing for a more traditional approach. Well, certainly Pablo Hidalgo is a piece of crap, so any suggestion that he comes up with should probably be ignored. Favreau and Filoni are definitely better at telling stories. Now, I'm not. I mean, I've never really played Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sort of familiar with it. I've done almost nothing in the way of actually playing role-playing games. Um, but the Star Wars role-playing game that was published by West End Games from the late 80s to the late 90s, before they lost the license because of financial shenanigans by the people that were running it. Anyway, um, it was excellent in my opinion. I didn't really care for the Wizards of the Coast supplements. I mean, again, that's like I didn't really get. I bought all the books that I could find of the Star Wars RPG by West End Games because they're just so fucking cool. I love to read all these supplements that were fleshing out the Star Wars universe. I thought it was just awesome. I didn't really care for most of the books put out by Wizards of the Coast or whoever wound up with it next, or whoever has it now. Um, is it Final Flight or Fantasy Flight? I don't. It's something to do with Fantasy Flight games, maybe something like. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, whoever has it now, and I don't. Their stuff is probably okay. And some of the Wizards of the stuff Ghost was okay. But you know, the West End game stuff was really awesome in my opinion. I just loved everything about it. Um, I mean, if you wanted to have things that were similar to some of the cool setups and shit that they had in that'd be awesome. But I don't see them doing that. And that I mean, saying want it more like a D&D campaign, more aesthetic, less narrative. It's like, I mean, to what end? I mean, you have to have a narrative. You have to have a story. You can't. I mean, a TV show or a movie or whatever is not like a role playing game. You can't just be like, there you go, folks. Now make some decisions. I mean, what is this going to be? A fucking create your own adventure thing? That does that's just not going to work. Um, it's claimed that Kennedy actually wants Favreau to take over Lucasfilm when she retires or is promoted. Oh, God, failing upwards. But that Favreau may not take the position. Well, if he doesn't, it's probably because he doesn't want to fucking work there. Regarding Dave Filoni becoming the new head of Lucasfilm, it said it won't happen as Filoni isn't interested or is qualified to lead an entire film studio. Well, I mean, he probably isn't qualified, and he probably would suck at it, honestly. He's good at what he does, but and that Filoni is much happier working his own stories. Yes, that's where he belongs. And there's Jar Jar. I shouldn't say that. It's an insult to Jar Jar. Abrams' cut of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Around the release of Episode X, it was claimed that numerous cuts of the movie existed. Yeah, including an Abrams cut and a George Lucas cut. Yeah, the Lucas cut is the only one that I heard about. I didn't hear about an Abrams cut. Did you? I didn't. I don't remember anybody talking about an Abrams cut. Maybe it was just because nobody fucking cared. But obviously if there was a Lucas cut, people would have wanted it. According to the Redditor, there never was a Lucas cut of Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. I'm not surprised. But what actually happened is that Abrams had gone to Lucas like he had gone to all the other directors and got their input on X. That's it. Lucas did not ghost direct X. Well, as much as I don't especially think that George Lucas is really that great of a director, a lot of people kiss his fucking ass. I don't. I still don't think that he could ever have produced anything as god awful as The Rise of Skywalker, even given the shitty situation that he had to try to work with. It's like, no, I don't think so. I don't think Lucas, well, I mean, for one thing, I don't think he would have touched it with a 10-foot pole. Gave his input on the initial script, Abrams and whoever the fuck worked on. Abrams Star Wars details. Regarding Abrams' plans for Star Wars, details are said to include that Abrams originally wanted Rey to be the granddaughter of Anakin, eventually pushing for Rey to be Luke's daughter, and that Luke had with a fellow rebel after the war. Well, that would have honestly made more sense. especially if you're trying to be like, oh, it's it's the Skywalker saga coming to it's like, no, it's the Palpatine saga coming to a close. What the fuck? It said Rey's mother was a Force archaeologist, whatever the fuck that means, who found Anakin's lightsaber after the events of the original trilogy. Well, I guess that would explain where we found that. It's like that was never fucking explained. In The Force Awakens, where that lightsaber came from. It's like, oh look, it's Anakin's lightsaber. Oh, where'd it come from? That's a story for another time. They never got around to that. I'll explain later. But before the sequel trilogy, and that we never learn her name in the story. Well, why? Why bother? In the Abrams cut, Rey had learned she was Vader's granddaughter and reconciled her past with Luke Skywalker. Yeah, that would have been a better story, honestly. That's one reason why I kind of doubt that this is actually true. I suspect this is all bullshit. The cut also is said to include several flashbacks to Luke's life before the sequels, and that Luke had been looking for Mortis through Gesundheit. Abrams had pushed for a more traditional ending to the trilogy, Luke Skywalker living past the end of the sequels. Well, that would have been nice, instructing a new generation and his offspring. Oh, imagine that, claims the leaker. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that I just don't. I don't believe that they could have come. I mean, that is the bare minimum. What's been described here is the bare fucking minimum of a halfway decent story. I don't believe that the shitheads at Lucasfilm could have come up with even that much. I really don't. I don't believe that they could have come up with even that quote-unquote good of a story. The earliest completed script for X under Abrams and Terrio, I don't know. I don't remember hearing about this person, so I don't know who this is. Had ended up a hybrid of The Rise of Skywalker and Colin Trevorrow, whatever's Duel of the Fates. I'm not familiar with that, I guess. One of the working titles for this script had been named Heirs to the Force. Now, that sounds like you're trying to rip off Heir to the Empire, but whatever. That Star Wars girl. Okay. So this is, So, Anna, I guess, covered that. Anyway, like I said, I don't buy it at all. Because I don't think he could have come up. I mean, like I said, it's barely a decent story, and yet I still don't think that this guy could have fucking come up with a barely decent story. I sure as shit don't think she could have. Now he could have. He could have come up with but as far as I know, he was not. He was not at all associated with that. So anyway, yeah, I'd be interested in hearing other people's comments about this, but like I said, I really just don't believe it. I just don't. All right, until the next one.